Good morning, Sellers Session. This is Isabella Hamilton, CEO of Rank Bell, and I have with me today a dear friend of mine to my heart, Mr. Joe Valley. Welcome to Sellers Sessions.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, Bella.
Of course, we were just talking about how you're missing out on traffic and conversions.
I know. Half my team's going to be there, but I was unable to make it for various reasons. But you're going to have a good time anyway. You're going to get out on the boat,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, so for those who are in San Diego for traffic and conversion, there's a fantastic boat party, a yacht party sponsored by the one and only Mr. Joe Valley. And I really wish you were here, but I know your team will really hold down the fort. I think so.
Oh yeah, there's the team's a hell of a lot smarter than I am, so it'll be good for you to get to meet most of them as well.
I know. I would love to connect with everyone, and I look forward to it. And that's why I didn't even message you, because I was like, I'm just gonna surprise him when I get there on the boat. And then I asked you this morning, you're like, yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, the surprise is I'm not actually there.
Yeah, that was the surprise. I'm actually unpleasantly surprised, but I think I would let this one pass. So,
Appreciate that.
Joe Valley, tell us about yourself for those who don't know you, which I am sure that's very rare, especially now that you have a magnificent book out. So tell us all about you and the book.
Oh, okay. So I'm an old guy, gray on the chin, as you can see.
Right, of course. I was going to mention that, but good.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate that. Always got to get that in there. I'm an entrepreneur. I've been self-employed since 1997, but doing side hustles since I was like 10 years old.
What was a side hustle at 10 years old? I'm very curious.
At 10 years old, I grew up in Maine, and I used to go out at night in the summer times with a flashlight, right? And so you go out with a flashlight at night, and the night crawlers come out at night. That's why they call them night crawlers, obviously. And you spot them in the flashlight, and if you're quick, you can reach down and pinch one, hold on to it. If you pull too quickly, this is gross, they actually just break up. They break in half. So you grab one, slowly pull it out, grab another. That was my first business, where I used to sell night crawlers to fishermen. My dad was kind enough to let me put a big sign on the tree that embarrassed, I'm sure, my entire family, that said night crawlers for sale. I lived on Central Street in a little town called Gardner, Maine. And that was my first experience with, as I call my muddy grasp on supply and demand. I used to sell night crawlers. When they started to get low, I'd go back out at night and grab some more.
What
So that was
made
my
you?
first
What
little
gave you
side
that
hustle.
idea, though? What gave you that idea
Oh, I
at 10
loved
years old?
fishing. I was fishing every moment I could as a kid. We were surrounded by water everywhere. And I thought, well, I need them for myself. Why not just put a sign up and see if I can sell more? And I did that, and it did well.
What did you do with all that money?
Right. All
That's
that
the
money.
question.
Well, this was not even gonna tell you what years it was. It wasn't a whole lot of money, but I'm sure I just bought I probably Pac-Man with it and asteroids as much as I could, as much video gaming as I could. And at that time, it was 25 cents a pop. You put it into a machine to play. It's not like today.
Right. No, that's so great. So that just gave you that realization that you can make money without having
Yeah,
to depend on
a job.
any.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I was mowing lawns. I was doing everything all through high school, even college. I started a business in college that was, a restaurant delivery service. Right, I used to deliver food for 6 different restaurants when I was in college. Sounds familiar, right?
Yes, it
DoorDash,
does.
all that
You
stuff.
could have been the one to come up with Uber Foods and all this.
Well, I tell you what, I was working in a restaurant while I was in college, and this guy walked into the restaurant in jeans and I don't know, like a polo shirt. He was very casual, but running his own business. And he pitched us, and I was the manager at the time. I went to Northeastern. It was a co-op job, but he pitched me on having his business. His company was called Dining In, deliver for our restaurant. And as soon as he left, I turned around, went out back, and I talked to the owner. His name is Dick, and I said, "Look, I want to do it." I explained it to him. I said, "I want to do it." He goes, "Oh, okay, I'll fund you." And so he gave me $1,000, and I came up with $1,000 of my own money, and I started a company called The Wrong Number. not such a great business name.
Okay.
But I was in
Okay.
college, and
All right.
my target audience was in college, and I couldn't come up with a name. So some friends and I sat around, and I'll be blunt, right? You're in California. It's okay. We
Yeah.
got high, and
Right.
I thought the name the wrong number was brilliant.
Right.
Um, and it was kind of funny. Our target audience was college students. So it's interesting. There was a need for it. So it didn't matter how bad the name was. So I went around to 6 different restaurants. All 6 signed up to have me deliver for them. I created one menu combining all of their restaurants, handed them out during the day to college students, and I was still in college. And then at night, for about 6 months, I'd work 7 nights a week, and I'd have my drivers deliver for orders that came in. They'd call in, I'd fax them to the restaurant. My drivers would go pick it up. But it was exhausting. I was working 7 nights a week, and I had school full time. So I ended up closing it at Christmas, and I went to work for that company dining in. I actually made more money as a driver than I did as the owner of the restaurant, and I worked
Wow.
a lot less. But that company ended up selling to Grubhub after
Oh
many,
my
many years.
God.
Yeah, so they started in Boston and went to a variety of different larger cities and sold to Grubhub. So, I was lucky to be connected with Michael Hackle, the owner of that company dining in. I was connected with the folks at that restaurant that I worked at. They sold to Subway, so I got to meet the founder of Subway at one point. So all along those connections and past my entire life, I knew I was going to be an entrepreneur. What I was going to do, I wasn't 100% sure. So I kicked around a lot after college and didn't really land into an entrepreneurial environment that was a good fit for me until I was about 29 years old. And that was 1994, right? And I worked at a company that had 30 employees, or 33. I was the 34th employee. And that first year we did 17 million in revenue. And by the time I left 3.5 years later, we topped 100 million in revenue. Now that first year, the owner made close to $5 million. The last year, he lost close to $5 million. So it's not top line revenue. I learned early on. It's really bottom line profit, and it just became too hectic for me. And it was more like at the end of it all, there were 1,000 people working there, and it was painful. And I was a worker bee, and I left and started my own company in 1997. My goal at the time, Bella, was to earn $50,000 because I was making that before there were budget cuts at the company. So I left in September of 1997, and I had a goal, $50,000. I made about $500,000 in 1998, and I knew entrepreneurship was the absolute perfect thing for me. Eventually, I got into the online space. I launched my first website in '98, actually, for $50. But I used to sell on radio and television infomercials. And I went through, 2 different product cycles while also buying media for a lot of other folks. But I launched my first product in '98, my second product in 2002. And then I took that second product 100% online in 2005, took it through the best of and the worst of the economy, and came out the other end tired, worn down. I'm going to describe my life, right? I remember waking up and deciding that day that I wanted to sell my business, and I'm living now in North Carolina in a house that's on a lake with a pool, and I had 2 young kids, and my wife's outside with the kids and her friends, and there's a bunch of kids playing, and I'm inside working 20 hours a week, and I'm absolutely miserable, which is just pathetic, right? I had a great life, but I didn't like what I was doing anymore. I was tired and I needed to move on. So I ended up listing it for sale with a company called Quiet Light. We sold it in late 2010. I took about a year off and then joined the company in 2012, and have sold personally about 100 million in transactions since then, $500 million through the team, and just wrote the EXITpreneur's Playbook, which launched in
Wow.
June.
What made you join Twilight?
It was a great experience, honestly. When I reached out to have my business sold for me, there were very few online business brokers, M&A firms at the time. And 2 of them were it felt like they were just trying to reach through their phone to get their hooks into me for a commission. It was all about them. It wasn't about me. But my conversation with Mark, the founder of Quietly, original founder, and then my business partner, was great. He asked a lot of questions. We had a second call where we reviewed my profit and loss statement together. And then he said, look, Joe, things are coming back up, in terms of the economy. It's like your most recent 3 months are so much larger than the year before. I think it's in your best interest to wait. If you wait another 6 months, you're going to make another 100 grand, that kind of thing. And I thought, who the hell is this guy giving me advice that's all from me and basically telling me to go away? And I was sold 100%. And that's exactly what I did. This was a conversation we had maybe March of 2010. And I waited until I think October, where Jason, who was the only advisor on the team at the time, took on my listing. We got along great. We sold it very quickly. About 3 weeks, it was under LOI and closed. 3 weeks after that, and then I kicked around. I tried I went back to media buying. Realized why I stopped doing it. I hated it, and I just kept in touch with Jason and Mark, and decided to join the team.
Wow. How old is Quiet Light now?
Quiet Light was founded in 2007, actually. So, we're almost 15 years old now. But things have changed a lot since I joined. That first year that I joined, the first full calendar year, I personally closed 23 transactions. But the total value of those transactions, I think the accumulated total value was only something like $2.5 million. Not very much. So you can tell the average deal size is only, $150,000. Today, it's very, very different. We will close $250 million in transactions, $250 million in transactions in this year alone. And the average transaction size, or I should say the median transaction size, is about $2 million. We've got, some upwards of 25 million and some as low as we try to keep the floor to about 250,000, but sometimes we have a relationship with someone who has a much bigger site that we're working on with them that's not ready to list yet, but they've got a smaller one that they want to go ahead and peel off. And so we'll work with some folks on some sub $250,000 sites as well.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. That's some
It's been a
good
fun
work.
ride. When I first did it, I think we were just talking about traffic and conversion, and I ended up going to, I think it was PubCon in spring of 2013. I remember sitting around a table with a bunch of people in the industry that I hadn't really gotten to know yet. They're all friends now. But someone next to me said, asked me the question, well, how do you like brokering, Joe? I said, I love it. I love helping people. I'm really making a difference in their lives. And he basically said, you're full of it, and all you like doing is making money. And it's not at all what my mindset was then or is today. I've been very successful, as you can tell from that first year that I was self-employed.
And from when you were 10 years old.
And
Yes.
from when I was 10 years old. That's right, my worm farm. I learned that the more you help people and have an objective to help your clients and your customers, the more that your business is going to grow. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you're going to be happier and have a fulfilled life and make more money, if that's part of the objective. And so my objective wasn't just to make money. That was my objective when I was 23. There's no question about it. All I wanted to do was make money. And that caused some pains, even early on when I was fully self-employed. I wanted to, it was about money. I used to write down on my hand every week, I'd write down $10,000, how much money I made this week. I remember my father and my brother came over once, and I'm like, Dad, look. He's like, what's that? I'm like, that's how much money I made this week. And it was, that week, that was 1/5 of what he used to make in a year. I made in a week. And I'm not sure if he was proud or just thought I was being obnoxious, but either way, it used to be about money. And then my mind shift changed to be focused on just helping as many people as possible. And from that, I'm making lifelong friends and changing people's lives. And lo and behold, I'm actually making a great living too. So it all ties together, I think, in the later years when you get more mature and you focus on helping more people.
I completely agree with this. I mean, like you said, I think we all start by wanting money, especially services, agencies. And product sellers as well. But I feel like, we reach a threshold where like, okay, we have good money. I think we're doing all right. Like we're not our basic necessities are fully covered. And then you get to the point where it's like, oh, now this is a nice thing to have. And then you reach that, and then you reach another level and another level, and you're like, money's nice, but then this becomes like your identity and your family and your friends. Like somebody was telling me yesterday that I am a little bit too deep into my work. I actually don't see it because it's just part of my life. It's not I don't log in and say, okay, from 8 to 4 p.m. I'm going to do rank bell stuff. No, it's just it's part of me, and it's who I am now. And I guess I just kind of grew into it without me seeing it. But and this person was actually my brother. He was giving me shit for working
Yeah.
too much.
Well, that's what
So,
family does.
right. But
It's their
and
job. It's in their job
I was
description.
thinking about it. I was like, you know what, like, I mean, I didn't want him to see it, but I was like, oh, he may be right, because it is part of me. But you get to a point where once it's part of you, it's no longer about the money. The money is like a nice bonus to what you already are and what you already do. Like with traffic and conversion, there's so many events right now in town happening, and for me to be at this events, it's like makes my heart grow. Like I went to like I think 2 or 3 events yesterday, and it's like, oh my God, my family's back together.
Yeah.
I mean, I have my family, and
Yeah.
then I have my work family, which is the new identity that I've been growing into for all these years. And it's very hard to separate that. I can see how that happens when you work at a job that you're not necessarily fulfilled, or, it's the incentive is only money. And what I love about our community and entrepreneurs is that we all have this at our core. We are a family, and it becomes who we are, and we always try to help each other, at least in my opinion. Is this why you wrote the book, The EXITpreneur? Tell me a little bit about that. Like, when did you start writing that? What made you write that? And
Yeah.
how badass that you have a very nice book out.
Thanks. Appreciate that. I started the process in my head probably 5 years ago, but pen to paper, so to speak, about 4 years ago. And I couldn't get beyond beyond the outline and the introduction. And then I was at an event 2.5 years ago, maybe 3, where someone, the host of the event, was giving a presentation, and lo and behold, he was announcing his new book that he had just completed writing. And then he had his scribe come out on stage. And a scribe is somebody that works for Scribe Media. And so I met her afterwards and quickly hired Scribe Media. And the way that works is that they, instead of you pounding it out with a typewriter or a keyboard writing, they interview you. So she helped me firm up the outline even further of the book. And then there was about, I don't know, probably 20 hours worth of interviews altogether, broken down by chapter. And with each chapter, with each one, should take everything I said and write it out in a chapter. And then when the book was complete, they give it to you in little bites. I got 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. And it just, they give you, is this the right feel all along the way? They give you little teasers on the content, whatnot, all along the way. And the goal was to have it done from start to finish in about 8 months. But because of the technical details in the book, it's not something that you can just convey to somebody who has no experience. So it ended up taking about a year and a half from beginning to end once I hired Scribe. And it launched in June of this year. We hit the Amazon bestseller list in 7 different categories, and it continues to grow, and the reviews are very strong. And the reason I wrote it is because and I say the entire team at Quiet Light, our goal, we have a little pinnacle goal that's a 10-year goal, and that is to be the resource for all online sellers to help them understand and grow the value of their business. You notice there's nothing in there about us being their broker. It's just providing them the tools and resources they need to help understand the value of their business, and eventually, if they decide to sell their business, not necessarily through us. So we've always done that. It's what Mark started in 2007, what we've done since I joined in 2012. So the book was just that next level. And it takes the entire process, almost absolutely everything you need to know about negotiating with aggregators, calculating sellers' discretionary earnings, what the heck is an ad back, what a letter of intent looks like, asset purchase agreement details, all the possible deal structures, everything you really need to know about the value of your online business, how to sell your online business, how to negotiate the details. It's all in the EXITpreneur's Playbook. And I wrote it because it had to be written. It just hasn't been written before, specific to the online world. And we're at the tip of the iceberg as far as the online world goes. So I needed to get it done so that I could reach more people, to be honest with you, because I've had over 8,000 one-on-one conversations since 2012, which is an awful lot of one-on-one conversations with entrepreneurs specifically about their businesses, which means that I'm not able to talk to like another 92,000 every year. So I'm hoping that the book will reach more people, help more people, even if they're just negotiating with an aggregator now, or getting a call from one, or just maybe in the content space, or just a Shopify store that eventually wants to exit.
Right. I love that. I mean, especially since there was nothing on the subject out there, and, the aggregators are still pretty new to our space, and, being able to be armed with some information, I think it's always great. I mean, I don't know how many books I own. And I was so excited to get your book, and it's still on my list. I have a few to finish before getting to the Exitpreneur. But I think it's so good, whether you consider selling in the future or not, just being armed with all these tools. I think, without even having to sell your business, just being able to prepare and have your business in order. I think
Well,
that's
it's really surprising to me, I guess I should say, that some people still don't even realize that they can sell their business and that they can sell an FBA business. I'm just starting to focus on helping people in Facebook groups now. And somebody posted something the other day. It's like, hey, I've got this Amazon seller account, and the business is doing okay, but I've got another one that's, another business altogether that's a brick and mortar store that I'm focused on. Is it ethical to sell an FBA business, a seller account? And people are like, hell yes, 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 yes. It still shocks me though that those questions come up. So there's lots of yeses, yeses, yeses. And another a brokerage firm said, yes, we do it all the time. Connect with one of our advisors here, as opposed to saying, yes, you can. Be sure that you understand how to calculate seller's discretionary earnings, because your business is sold as a multiple of SDE. And never, ever, ever skip over the add back schedule, because that's where if you don't focus on it, you're going to be giving your buyer a ton of instant equity. So, and then putting in the formula, net income plus add backs equals seller's discretionary earnings. So helping and educating, instead of what the other advisor did, which was, hey, yes, of course, here, connect with one of us. We'll sell the business for you. Educating them and then letting them make their own decision. The other thing that I saw on that particular Facebook group, Bella, was that, a couple of people in the group, I know who they are, and they're like, reach out to me. I might be interested in buying it. And they're kind of preying, if you will, on people that don't have the knowledge and experience to put the right value on their business. And so they're preying on them and want to buy it. And it's not an aggregator. I'm not talking about aggregators. I'm talking about a couple of individuals that I know who they are. And it just drives me nuts. It irks me so much that people are out there doing that, taking advantage of people, and getting what I call, an ignorance discount, because that particular person didn't have the tools and resources to understand the value of what they had. So anyway, that's why I wrote the damn book.
I know. I love it. Listen, the more knowledge people get, the better. And there are always going to be more brokerage firms. There are always going to be more aggregators. And in the end, sellers have to make their own decision and be informed. And like you said, not many people know they can sell their business. For the longest time, I didn't know I could sell Rainbow. It was never even in my dreams, I was like, nope, this is just with me to stay. I don't know how long it will last. And then, a few months ago, I got a very nice offer, and I was like, oh, this feels nice, but no, thank you.
Yeah. 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 And so, everybody that is in the audience listening, if they're an FBA business owner, they've probably gotten a similar email or a call or a snail mail even saying, hey man, we love your brand. We love your business. We want to buy it. We pay all cash. We close in 30 days. And those are really exciting and flattering,
Yes.
but no is probably the best thing to do, because odds are most everybody in the audience hasn't set a goal, which is the simplest possible thing to do to help you get over the tough days and march towards something. Otherwise, you're just kind of in the daily grind. And I don't set goals with just a dollar amount, right? A goal of, I want to sell my business for $5 million is not a goal. That's a dream. It's a wish. It's a want. You change that and you put in, I will, and then dollars, that $5 million, and a date. When do you want to sell it? And this is a little touchy-feely, but how do you want to feel? So I will sell my business for $5 million in Q1 of 2024, and I will feel unburdened because I'll be out of debt. My kids' college would be paid for, and I can spend more time with my family and then move on to my next entrepreneurial venture. That feeling drives people and motivates them. And when I, if I'm involved in a transaction and I'm brokering it, when it's all done, one of the things I say is, well, how do you feel? Not how's that money in your bank look, because it's more of a feeling.
Yeah.
I sold one for another guy named Joe recently. And this guy was a dad 2 days after his 17th birthday. His girlfriend at the time helped him finish high school by doing all of his homework and helping him cheat because he was working full time to support her, the baby. He at one point became a drug addict and really had nothing but debt. And then he sold everything and launched an Amazon business. Was growing the business, didn't have enough money for inventory, so I guess he didn't sell everything, because then he sold his truck to get more money to buy inventory. And eventually this person who was a dad 2 days after his 17th birthday sold his Amazon business for $2.5 million. And I said to him, well, how do you feel? He's completely unburdened. I'm going fishing for the next month. He bought a new boat and he's going fishing. He lives in Florida in a $60,000 house on a canal, no debt, total freedom. He's not even, I don't think he's even 40 years old at this point. Complete and total freedom and flexibility to do whatever he wants for the rest of his life. Now, $2.5 million may be enough to retire for him. It's not for most people, but that feeling of unburdened and, I don't know, you got money in the bank, you can launch. Next time you launch, you're smarter, you're wiser. The time to get to the value you want is shorter. You're an EXITpreneur, right? You know that most of the money you're going to make comes the day that you sell the business. Same with you someday. My guess is, based upon what Rank Bell's doing, odds are the day that you exit will actually be, you'll make at least 50% of all the money you made all along the way, unless you're going to wait 20 years, right? Sometimes when you wait that long, you make a lot of money along the way. But, if your business is growing 25, 30, 40% year over year all along that way, then still that exit at the end is going to be larger than all the money that you made along the way.
Yeah, I want to get back to what you said about feelings,
I know I
because
said it and then I talked for 5 minutes. I just
no,
put your
I
hands up,
love
say, Joe, shut up.
no, please. I love it when you talk. You have a lot of great things to say, so I don't mind it. But this is one thing, and the way you explain it, you said, how does somebody feel when they see themselves at the finish line? And I actually think that is one of the secrets to one's success. And when I say that, I mean, most of people know about the law of attraction and the book, The Secret, and all that. So from reading that million years ago and just having my own experiences with that, I was trying to figure out why some things come true and some things don't. And what I came to realize was that when you attach a feeling to that goal, to that wish, then that's what it makes it real, actually. So whether you believe this or not, or whether you try to put it in more humanly terms, but what I realize every time I make a goal and I actually feel that feeling, it's not only like, okay, I make a goal, I want to be happy, I want to feel excited, I want to feel like in a celebratory mood. It's you actually have to feel that right now as it already happened. That that's just the magic. Like I can't really explain the science behind it, but just from doing like micro experiences here and there, every time I attached the feeling to it, it happened almost exactly to the T. However, I made that goal. And
Yep.
now what I do, I reverse engineer that, Joe. And now
I like that term. It's on the cover of my book.
there you go. So what I do now is when I make a goal, obviously I feel that feeling now, which is the feeling that everybody wants to get to. So in the end, we all want to get to the goal of being happy.
Yeah.
I like to believe that every single thing we do in life, whether we get a job or go to school or get married or have kids, is because we are chasing that happiness feeling. If you keep removing all the layers, deep down, we all want to be happy. So
That's it.
if we reverse that and we are happy now as if we are already having all of these things that we imagine, whether they're material, whatever you want in this lifetime, if we can only be happy now as if we already had them, then it speeds up the process even more because your subconscious already registered it as I already have that boat. I already sold my business for 50 million. I already. And how does that make me feel right now? And then I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling happy. And then next thing you know, things just fall into place because it already happened.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no question. I've read The Secret as well. And I've done all sorts of things like that, going all the way back to, Tony Robbins' original programs and goal setting and things of that nature. And I look back at those days and visualizing them and seeing them as yours and seeing yourself. In my case, I wanted a boat in the marina in Portland, Maine. And I would see myself on that boat going out into the Casco Bay and enjoying the summers in Maine. I never bought that boat because my goal shifted and I ended up having a lake house instead. And so I was not an ocean goer. But you do have to reverse engineer that, right? So with the dollars, date, and feeling, I think everybody should be setting goals that include dollar, date, and feeling. And then, like you said, you got to reverse engineer a path to that, which means, in my view, that if you don't know where you are today in terms of value of your business, and this is obviously specific to reaching those dollars, date, and feeling goals with your business, then you don't know how to get there. It's almost like putting in Boise, Idaho in Google Maps, but Google doesn't know where you are right now, so there's no clear path to it. So you've got to reverse engineer a path to it and figure out what the value of your business is today. And the book will help you with most of that. You can get pretty close to understanding the value of your business. You can look at listings that are out there, but the key thing is first understanding how to calculate sellers' discretionary earnings. So reverse engineer a path to that, calculate sellers' discretionary earnings, and then you can look at different listings and see what the value of your business might be from that. So yeah, I think reverse engineering a path to the goals that you set is really, really important.
I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to try to make it more visible. Do you see that?
I see something up there. I can't quite see it. There's a dollar sign. There's a number one. 1 billion. Oh,
yes.
you want to be a unicorn valuation.
Yeah. So that's I don't know if I don't know if it's going to happen with Rangball. I don't think so. But however, I gave myself 5 years to do it. You heard it here first. So now the whole everybody hearing this and downloading this will have to hold me accountable. And first, I don't remember when this came to me, the $1 billion. And most people that I tell this, they're like, what the hell would you even do with all that money? Like, why would you even want that? I mean, there's just so many reasons behind it. And one of them is just like, I just want to see if I can make it happen. I mean, I've created everything else in my life. why would this be any different? But I hadn't given myself a date when I first had that thought. And now, that I put a 5-year mark on it, it's definitely a little bit scarier. And also, I do visualize how I feel at that moment, and I act as if I already am, which is, again, like I want to get to that happy, like $1 billion just sounds super exciting to me. Coming from Romania with $100, I feel like this is a good number to make up for. Some people may
It's
say
just $1 billion. Yeah, it's an okay number.
It's just a number. Like, it's just a number. And I want to read a comment here. Timur said, if it doesn't happen, then you may feel depressed. Well, the problem with this statement is that most people have this. They are making very small goals for the fear that they will not reach it. So they will make such small goals that in their head is very achievable and attainable. And if it doesn't happen, then they don't feel so bad about themselves. And we kind of tone it down as a society. Like, our goals are smaller and smaller. I like to ask people these questions that nobody asks. Like, what is your number? How, or they'll say, oh, I make such good money at this company. I'm like, how much is that? And they're like, shocked. Oh, you just asked me how much I make. I'm like, yeah. I was talking to somebody last night and he's like, I make such good money. I was like, how much? He was taken aback. He's like, like 13,000 a month, I think he said, which obviously is great. But, we need to talk about this more. We need to talk about these numbers, and we need to push ourselves more to reach for that higher number. Like, not be scared. And if the goal does not scare you, then it's not big enough. And for time more, and if it doesn't have, you may feel depressed, you're already telling yourself that you're not going to make it. So shoot for the moon and land in the stars, right? Isn't that like a
very much so. So to Tim's comment, it's not feeling depressed because you didn't hit it. What I would add to that $1 billion is, as you said, reverse engineer. What does it take to sell a company for $1 billion? How much revenue do I need to be generating? How much profit do I need to be generating? What kind of recurring revenue needs to be there? How broad of a client base do I need to have? Sometimes there's, acqui hires, meaning you've got 200 VAs around the world working for you, and they're buying you as an acquisition of employees. Figuring out where you need to be in order to hit that $1 billion. And then, can you do it in 5 years? But not only can you do it, but once you figure out exactly what you have to do to sell it for $1 billion, you have to say to yourself then, is that something I really, really, really want to do? Am I willing to sacrifice whatever it takes to hit that $1 billion? Or can I do it with my 8 to 5 lifestyle that I have right now and still focus on family, spending time with your brother who's going to tell you the truth, no matter how ugly it is, and all that stuff, getting detailed. And then you may say to yourself, hell yes, I could achieve that, and visualize that and enjoy it and be happy like you're living it today. Or you may say, you know what? I want to hit a goal that's going to satisfy me, and I'm very realistic about exiting. Like, I have something. Look, given what I do for a living, it would be foolish if I didn't do the same thing that I tell people to do. So I have an exit goal in dollars, date, and feeling, and it's there on my screensaver. I see it every day, or actually on my monitor, right? And then on my screensaver, it's there every day.
What is your number, Joe? What is
I'm not telling you my number. I adjusted it. I'm not telling you what it is. It's not $1 billion. I'll tell you that, because I know what I want to do and how I want to live. And for me, $1 billion exit is not something I want to be part of because of the level of expertise that I have in certain areas and what I don't like to do. So I don't love managing people at all. Right. That's why Quiet Light is full of entrepreneurs. They're people that have all built, bought, sold their own online businesses, and they don't need to be managed. They're all very successful, more successful than me in many, many regards. So I've got a company with my partner, Mark, that is full of entrepreneurs that don't need to be managed. And my goal is, it's achievable, if we do certain benchmarks, right? And then, but it still allows me to do what I want to do personally along the way, right? I'm older than you, Bella, right? I'm 55 years old. My goals have shifted at 55 than they did from 45. So, you've got to reverse engineer, as you said, and then see where you are today. And then what do you have to do to get to that goal and say, is that what I want? Hell yes, that's what I want. Or should I shift that and change it to 2 billion, or shift it and change it to a 500 million or 100 million, and just all of those things, and making sure that you're healthy and happy all along the way, which is really the most important thing. It's that goal, yes,
Yeah.
but being healthy and happy along the way towards that goal is something that's critical.
Absolutely. And us entrepreneurs, we like chasing goals. It's like without goals, we don't feel alive. And I was
Yeah.
gonna ask where the guy you said that sold the business, the one in Florida for 2.5 million. I was gonna ask, well, when is he starting a new business?
He already did. He already
Okay,
did.
I
He
figured.
he started one and he
Yeah.
bought one. So
Yeah.
he's an expert.
So he's
And
not going to fish for the rest of his life
no,
and
but
chill
he
in
could
Florida.
fish whenever he damn well wants to.
Right,
That's the thing,
right.
right? And what he knows now is that, after 24, 36 months, he knows how to build the business in the right way to make sure he's going to have the maximum value when he does exit. And he sold to an aggregator, by the way.
Mhm.
But he knows how to build it right.
Yeah.
And knows that, okay, if I achieve this, that, and the other thing in 24 months, I can sell it for another 3 million, or 36 months for 5 million, and keep doing that,
He
because
already has the blueprint. Yeah.
he already has the blueprint, and he knows his level of incompetence, if you will, right? I know my level of incompetence. It's managing lots of people. I don't want to do that. I can't do that. It'll make me miserable. Joe knows that as well. And his is a 1 or 2 person show, him and his wife with a couple of VAs, and that's all he wants. Gives him freedom, flexibility to work from wherever he wants, whenever he wants. And his goals are smaller, but achievable for him. And if he misses it, then he'll just have to move the goalpost and shift and learn along the way to achieve that goal. And in some cases, people set that goal, in your case, $1 billion, and you may get out 5 years and your business may be worth $1 billion, but you're not done. You're not ready to
No,
sell. You just
no.
move that goalpost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And as I said, I don't know if ring bell will be it, but I am enjoying the process as if I am already a billionaire. In my mind already am. And which makes me happy because now there's not really any negative feelings about not achieving it. Like, oh my God, if it doesn't work, then I'm going to be depressed for the rest of my life. Like, I'm already happy as if it already happened. Because for me, money is just energy. Like, me and money, we get along really well. Like, we have a very good relationship. And I tell people this and they think I'm crazy. But in Romania, I didn't. I thought money was evil. I thought only those who are terrible humans on earth have money. And I wanted nothing to do with that. And I know a lot of people can can understand this because, whether they came from a religious background, whatever they came from, a lot of families think that money is associated with evil. And that's a very, very persistent in Romania, or used to be. So for me, wanting to have money was almost like wanting to be a bad human. So I have since recovered from this illness. And, I have PTSD around it. And I don't even like to even bring my mind any negativity around money. Like, me and money are cool. I'm a money magnet. Money comes easy to me. Money is just there. So for me, making a goal of $1 billion, it's like, oh, it's just my friend. We're just gonna chill in like 5 years on my yacht. It's cool. Like, it's totally fine. And I think if more people would be open to having a better relationship with money, and I try to explain this the best I can, is if you had a friend and you kept talking shit about that friend, about money, in this case, friend is money,
Yeah.
how would that person feel? They wouldn't want to be around you. So every time you talk bad about your friend called money, why would they want to stick around? Why would they even want to be close to you? Because you're just talking bad about him. I wouldn't want to be that person's friend. So
You may not.
that's how I see money. I think and it's not, it's not about social status and it's not about that. It's just like a challenge that I took upon myself. And if it doesn't happen, then I'm not going to be severely depressed. I think I'll be just fine. But it's just a goal. I want to do it. I want to see what it feels like to be a billionaire and to chill with billionaires and be like, yo, how did you become a billionaire? Like, that's what I want to know.
You know what I think you'll do is chill with your friends. They won't
I think
necessarily
I'm
be
going to be
billionaires.
chilling
You'll
with
just still,
even more friends.
yeah.
Be Your Own 20 is about, out of curiosity, why you never sold on Amazon. I know you run Running Bell. I do sell on Amazon, and I test a lot of the crazy things I do on my brand, and I also partner in a few other brands. Every day I tell myself I am a millionaire because one day I would change that to I am. Claim
That's
it.
right.
Claim it. A great speech.
And I'd put
No.
multi in there, a millionaire
Exactly.
in there.
What is just millionaire? Multi.
Yeah.
And thank you for the comment. I think Joe is fantastic as well, which is why I wanted him to be here. Tell us, give us some tips for how to deal with aggregators and whatever you want to tell us.
Sure. Well, first set that goal with dollar, state, and feeling, but
Yeah.
second, don't ever sell to just one, right? So, aggregators, I like them, by the way, right? I'm friends with a lot of them. And if it weren't for the pandemic, I'd have dinner and drinks with all of them now. They're good people who are well-educated, charming, and because of that, raise a lot of money to buy your business. Now, their objective is to buy your business and get a great return on investment, which means that they're not necessarily going to give you the maximum value, especially if they're dealing with just you. So think about, we've got a guy here on the team, Pat Yates, that has a deal with Robert on the Shark Tank, right? And he walked into the Shark Tank to pitch his brand, Happy Feet, or buyhappyfeet.com. They're custom slippers. If he had walked into the Shark Tank that day and Robert called in sick and Lori called in sick and Mark, everybody called in sick except for Mr. Wonderful, he would not have a good deal at all. He'd have a shitty royalty deal, pardon the language. He'd have a bad royalty deal that was not good for him and only good for Mr. Wonderful. The same holds true, whether you believe it or not, if you're negotiating with one single aggregator. They're sweet, they're charming, they're likable. I want to have dinner with them. They're my friends, but they've got their best interest in mind and not yours. So the tip I would give is don't just sell to one. You can get lists of aggregators everywhere. Just Google the top 50 aggregators of FBA businesses. And then if you're selling your business, put a little one sheet together after that one reaches out to you and send it out to the other 50 and let that one know that I understand it seems like a good offer. I'm just going to continue to see what other offers I've got. Well, this is the best offer you're going to get, Bella. This is it. And I only have until Thursday to close this deal, or I've got to move on to the next ones. You're going to say, I understand. And then be quiet and just wait and see what happens. And when Thursday rolls around, something happened when they can still deal with you and still work with you. This exact story happened to someone that we worked with recently. It's a woman, wonderful entrepreneur. And I asked her how much she made. She used to work at Bank of America as a branch manager. And we were in negotiations and selling her deal. We had multiple offers, and another one came. She had one in hand, and then another one came in that was so much more. And she's like, I don't know. I feel obligated to these first people. Should I sell to the other one? It's so much more money. And I said, I won't say her name. I said, how much money did you make at Bank of America? $75,000. Okay. So this is more than 10 times more that amount. So you should absolutely consider this offer. So this person bought an Amazon business with an SBA loan 2 years ago, and it just took off like a rocket in part because of the pandemic, but mostly because she made sure never to run out of inventory.
Oh, isn't that such an important thing?
Amazing, right? Just don't run out of inventory, which is a challenge these days, of course. But she got an offer for 2.6 million from an aggregator. That one aggregator that reached out and said, look, this is what we do every day. This is the absolute best offer you're going to get. These are the problems with your business. And they pointed out all the risks to it, $2.6 million plus inventory. And she decided to not take that, talk to number of different advisors, ended up, connecting with Chuck here on the team. We sold that business for over $5.5 million. So it's a huge difference between what a single aggregator is going to tell you and the reality. And I was even on a LinkedIn AMA with an aggregator that was running it a few weeks ago, and he was talking about how people are becoming exitpreneurs, and they've had one entrepreneur sell 5 businesses to them over the last couple of years. They build one and they sell it, and they had a number in the pipeline. And all I could think was, I really hope that that person is calculating seller's discretionary earnings properly. I hope that that person is doing an add back for the cash back money that they get that's over in their personal account instead of in the business account, because that is money. That's an owner benefit. And the most important thing you've got to do if you're selling is obviously negotiate with more than one, but second, you've got to understand where you are today and what the discretionary earnings is and how to properly calculate it. It's the minutia, Bella. It's so complicated and it's over most people's head, and it's frustrating for me to have it over most people's heads, and they just figure whatever, this is what it's worth. It's net income plus my salary. It is so much more than that and can get very complicated. There's an entire chapter dedicated to that. Is there a way to give a free link to anybody listening right now? Is there a chat?
Absolutely. Well, there's a chat here, but if you just send it to me, what I'll do, I'll put it in the comments for this live.
Yeah, I tell you what, at EXITpreneur.io, there's a
That's
free
even better.
chapters link. EXITpreneur.io, free chapters link, chapter 10. I think I gave away 3 or 4 chapters there. And chapter 10 is on ad backs. It's the most important chapter to read if anybody is currently negotiating with or plans to sell their business to an aggregator. It'll make, I guess I can't give a guarantee out to everybody, but I'm pretty damn confident that you will make at least $10,000 more just by reading that one chapter.
That is brilliant. I love that.
Well, good. I like brilliant stuff. Anyway, so negotiating, make sure you're dealing with more than one, figure out what your business is today. And then, ultimately you got to figure out the deal structures. They say they're going to pay all cash, but in most cases, if they're dealing with you directly, they're going to say, we're going to put 10% of it into escrow. It's your money, but we're going to leave it in escrow for a year. And then as long as the business is within 90% of what it was at closing, that money will be released to you. You're like, okay, 90%. These guys know what they're doing. That's not a problem. That's called a hold. It's called a holdback. The problem with that is that if it's at 89.999%, you would lose 10%. So if you're selling for $2 million, you'd lose $200,000. So you need to set up a sliding scale. If it's 85 to 90%, you get 150. 80 to 85, you get 100. And you know what? If it's 90 to 95, maybe you should get it 250. If it's at 100%, maybe you should get 300,000, and put some upside benefit for you there. Because no matter how good the aggregators are, how likable, how impressive they seem on paper, they're probably growing like crazy, and they're not going to care about this business as much as you do. They've got somebody managing your inventory now, and odds are they're going to take their eye off the ball for a minute, and you're going to run out of inventory. So another clause, or they're going to run out of inventory of your business. That's not your fault. If you've got future earnings, an earnout, a profit sharing plan, a holdback tied to them doing their job well, you need to put some clauses in there like, Bella, you're the aggregator. If you run out of inventory for any 2-week period on XYZ SKU, all bets are off. You owe me the full amount of the earnout. You owe me the full amount of the holdback, things of that nature. And of course, there's exceptions to that rule that might be natural disasters and things of that nature. But that way you're holding their feet to the fire. And I like this one because I've seen it happen, and we had the clause in there, fortunately. Yeah. There was an aggregator that we were about 93% of the way to the goal. And once the goal was hit, $300,000 was going to be released to my client. They ran out of inventory 3 weeks prior to hitting that goal. Even though my client kept telling them, you're running low, you're running low, you're running low, you've got to order. They ran out of inventory because it's just some kid they hired to do that part of his job. And he's got 17 brands to work with, and he ran out of inventory. That $300,000 was released in full because of having that clause in there. The other thing that I'd recommend, and I know I'm going on here, is that when you sell to an aggregator, if you have anything tied to future earnings, you should have view-only access to all of the reports. You don't need to wait a year to figure out what's happening. You should be able to log in anytime and see what's happening so that you know whether you're going to get paid or not. They should not have a problem with that if it's view only, because then you're kind of another person keeping an eye on it. You can reach out to that inventory management person and say, hey, look, based upon the numbers and the way they're going, I think you need to order some inventory. Really critical stuff that is simple, that when you're selling on your own, it's kind of hard to detail and add in there because you're so excited that you're going to sell your business for $1 million or $2 million that you forget some of these details and you won't be able to sleep very well at night afterwards.
Crucial details.
Crucial details. Absolutely.
I love this. This was a very fun interview.
It's the tip of the iceberg. There's so much. I do ramble on, and I apologize, but I could go on for 2 more hours.
Right, but I got a twilight party to go to tonight.
You probably do, yes. You got to rest up for that.
We cannot take the whole day for this. I have to get, ready, and it takes me like 8 hours. So
anybody at Traffic and Conversion, listen to this now. Find somebody. We don't have a booth. We are having the boat party tonight. And we've got a half a dozen of our team members there. Every single one of them is an entrepreneur just like you. Every one of them has built, bought, and sold their own online business. Otherwise, they wouldn't be qualified to be on the team. But they're great people to just have a conversation with. They'll help you. They'll advise you. They'll give you 2 cents of their advice and more without any pressure. It's right back to the old days when Mark gave me good advice, which was basically go away and come back again another day and you'll make more money. That's what everybody's going to do. They're going to think about you and your best interest. So don't be afraid to reach out to them and chat with them.
I love it. When I was a real estate agent, and I had a broker, and that's all we did. We really just fought for our clients. It's like, who fights better for you than somebody who has your best interest at heart? So I really love that. I love that you made time, Mr. Author, to honor us with your presence on our humble show. I look forward to seeing you in the future. And since it's not tonight, hopefully very soon. And I want to see the sequel to this amazing book, maybe something like How to Look So Dashing Over 55. There's many books you can be writing, but I look forward to see what else is next for you. And again, you're just so much fun, Joe.
Well, so are you. I appreciate it. Yeah. Good luck on your goal to $1 billion. I think you'll reach it and you'll be happy every step along the way, even if you have to move that goalpost because you now want to make $2 billion.
Listen, baby steps, baby steps.
Absolutely.
Baby steps. Well, thank you. And thank you for all of you listening. This was a pleasure, Joe. Have a great day.
Thanks.